Back, everybody. This is episode 53 of Unbuckling the Bible Belt podcast. I'm your host, Kate.
Kate, it's episode 55.
You just pulled the Donald Trump.
Oh, no.
I remember where I was on episode 53.
7-Eleven?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, everybody. Welcome to episode 55 of Unbuckling the Bible Belt.
Wait, was that mansplaining? What I just did?
Yeah, I think it kind of was.
Damn it.
Keep it up, buddy. So anyway, we all know who I am. I'm the Big Mouth. I'm Kate the Bluegrass Skeptic.
I'm Sharon Bush.
And I'm Joe Kendick.
And before we get into tonight's lineup, which we kind of already playfully tilted our hand, Joe, you said there's an update to the whole biblical crusade for literacy down there in Tennessee.
It is. After Governor Haslam vetoed the bill to make the Bible the state book, they had decided to revote it, and they lost. They only got 46 out of the 50 they needed. So Tennessee is not going to have the Bible as the official book. Maybe it would be a book on science. That would be nice.
It would be, wouldn't it? I mean, or at least maybe a book on how to make moonshine or play guitar, you know.
Yeah.
A book on musical history of Tennessee. I don't know. There's plenty of books they could pick.
Yeah.
So super stoked about that.
And there's a lot of authors out of Tennessee. They didn't have to pick God. I mean...
Well, he didn't write that shit anyway. He was a terrible fucking writer.
I know, but he, dictated it, kind of. He inspired it, I think is what they like to say, right?
Yeah. How's my dictate?
Okay. Right. Dictoke, number one for the night, out of the way.
Yeah. Someone's got to do it.
So but how many are...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh,
nope.
I'm excited about it. And Haslam knew the deal. He knew it was unconstitutional. The state attorney general knew it was unconstitutional. So I think they probably just said, look, we're going to lose a lot of fucking money on this if we don't do it. I mean, we've got to do what's right based upon our own laws, which would be hypocritical at best if they didn't do it. And they knew they'd lose a lawsuit. I know you and I had spoken about it, and you thought they could defend it. But I think they are mostly conservatives here, and I think they were thinking dollar signs, which I'm totally fine with, whatever it takes to get you there at this point.
Yeah. I gotta say, though, I mean, they had 55 votes to pass it, so this time they had 9 people bow out to go back and go over top the governor's head. That's still quite a few people that were in favor, so I think maybe it was an election season pool on some of them.
Oh, probably. I'm sure there were favors given. I'm sure Haslam, how politics works.
Oh, yeah. He gave a reach around and then some.
Oh, and then some, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm glad he did.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a pearl necktie, probably. So.
Nice.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Bravo. I'm stealing that one. I'm stealing
Hey, you better not. That shit's trademarked. Anyway.
Oh, damn it.
So, the crusade has finally been fought and lost, thankfully, down there in Tennessee. And so, are you two familiar with the old childhood chant about milk, lemonade, and fudge?
Yes.
Yes.
So, let's remind the audience how it goes, okay? Do y'all remember? So, on the count of 3, let's see if we all remember this or not. 1, 2, 3. Milk, lemonade. Turn the corner, and fudge is made. Well, guess what? HB2 is basically a clogged toilet bowl of useless shit at this point, thanks to the Fourth Circuit's decision this past week. I'm sure you saw it in the news regarding that lawsuit brought forth by that, what's that boy's name? Gavin Grimm out of Gloucester High School in Virginia?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he's transgender, and he was like, I need to be able to go to the restroom where I want. And the school... So actually, I think the school was saying yes or no. Somebody was saying no, and somebody was agreeing with him, and so they went to court. But essentially, the Fourth Circuit found in the student's favor. So we're going to be discussing that tonight and how that might or might not affect the Carolina bill.
Good.
I hope it affects it.
Yeah, because
detrimentally.
Yeah, and maybe it'll affect because across the whole area. I mean, the Carolinas are under the Fourth Fourth Circuit's jurisdiction. I don't know if Tennessee is, and that's something else we're going to be talking about when we bring this up, because from what I understand, Tennessee's got a bill going on too now.
Yeah, or they're trying. They tried it in Chattanooga, and a bunch of people kind of voted against it.
Yeah.
It didn't pass, and I think it's Pat McCrory, who's a douche nozzle, said, I'm not going to forget those of you that voted against this and whatever. And
yeah, well,
whatever.
We'll see what happens. With this precedent, maybe the other circuit courts will take note and try to, maybe local constituents and, moderate and liberal, progressive politicians can be like, hey, they're just look over next door. That failed over there. How are we going to do it different where it's going to work? Maybe they'll get a hint and not even waste their time, which it's Tennessee. I mean, look what they did with the whole Bible thing. So, Who knows?
Thanks for rubbing that in.
Yeah. But also tonight, we're going to discuss, we don't know if it was like under the hot spotlight of like the pending New York primary last week, but Donald Trump gave the iconic convenience store chain 7-Eleven a bit more free advertising than he planned, I think, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he was just like really thirsty and he had one of those huge, like sweaty, tall, big
gulps
Pepsis on his mind or something, when he...
It was a huge one. He had a huge one.
A huge one. A huge one. And so we're going to discuss that a little bit, because I know he's been getting his ass just trashed left and right for screwing that one up. And when we're done with that, we'll kind of swing away from politics finally, and we're going to talk about something that's, I think, all of us have experienced, and that's the issue of faith healing, and how lately it seems like it's an even bigger growing problem, and whether or not, these kids that are basically victims of their parents' refusal to get their health care met, do they have any, legal means once they're 18 to sue them, to get restitution, to prosecute them for neglect on any level, abuse of some kind? We're going to talk about that. And luckily, with the steady downturn in mood of our topics tonight, we're going to wrap up things with, and I'll let you introduce again, Joe.
Lawrence motherfucking Krauss!
That's right. We're wrapping up this month's Sci-Fi versus Religious Bullshit Month with a scientific badass of the 21st century. And we're going to be talking to him about gravitational waves, ingenuity of man, the importance and lifelong value of being willing to constantly learn.
And why we'll never have warp drive.
Yes.
I meant, I wish we had more time, because I meant to ask him if he could take Neil deGrasse Tyson in a fight.
Well, you know what? That's a topic for another day, and I guarantee you we're going to be hitting him back up to come back on when he has more time. This is something where he was really nice enough in between travels and that to give us time. And I mean, we're virtually a nobody, I would think. And,
virtually.
And to think,
all 5 of our fans might disagree with that.
I know. I'm starting to think maybe it's not as little as we thought, But we're still just a speck in the big universe, though.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't deny that reality. So we got a big lineup tonight. This is going to be good.
Excellent.
So everybody hang on. See you in a few.
Are you ready, kids? It's time to go to the Ark Park. Yeah!
Are you kids ready to pet the animals?
Yeah! And don't forget some of the fun rides. Oh, I want to go down Chum Falls first, Mom. Chum Falls? Is that a new ride? I haven't heard of that one. Oh yeah, Mom, it's super cool. We get to go down a route that looks like Noah's Ark, and we splash down through the bodies that are floating in the water with the sharks nearby.
Wow, Brenda Sue, that does sound fun. What about you, Henry? What are you going to do first?
I think I want to go play Clean the Poop Chute again. That's a lot of fun.
Oh, I don't know, Henry. You got awfully dirty last year playing that. And I don't think we brought an extra change of clothes for you this year like we did last year. I don't want to walk around the park and you smell like animal feces all day.
Your mother's right, son. That's really a job for a grown man, getting all of that poop out of the chute.
Oh, Dad, come on.
Now, Henry, don't argue with your father. You can always go play with your sister at the ancestral stomping grounds. That's a lot of fun, isn't it, Brenda Sue?
No, it's only the 2 of us there usually. And he always likes to try and poke me really hard.
Well, I guess I'll just take you 2 kids to the drowning pool then. That's always a good time.
Hooray!
I am Jim Helton, president of the TriState Freethinkers and regional director for American Atheists here in Kentucky. Answers in Genesis is spending $150 million to build a replica of Noah's Ark called the Ark Encounter in Williamstown, Kentucky. We at the TriState Freethinkers will defend their right to build such a park. However, we find this story immoral that's in the Bible and highly inappropriate for children. In addition to, the state government is giving them millions of dollars of tax incentives while allowing them to have discriminatory hiring practices. We at the TriState Freethinkers need your help. We want to raise enough money to put up billboards all over the area to let people be aware of how horrible this story in the Bible actually is. The more money we get, the more billboards we can put up in all different areas. In addition to, we want to do a counter-protest on their opening day and throw a huge party and invite all the freethinkers and atheists to come all over to show support for reason and logic and not superstition and myths. We appreciate all your support, and remember, all donations are tax deductible.
For further information, visit our website, TriStateFreethinkers.com. That's tri-statefreethinkers.com. There you will find up-to-date information on our campaign at Indiegogo and a quick link button to take you straight over to the donations page. Remember, that's www.tristatefreethinkers.com.
Our next story comes from the Progressive Secular Humanist blog at pathos.com. Victim of faith healing wants parents prosecuted. Permanently disabled because she was denied medical care as a child, Maria Walton wants her faith healing parents prosecuted. Walton, 20, is usually bedridden, and when she's not, she has to carry around an oxygen tank. She's had screws in her bones to hold her breathing device in place, and she has no options for recovery besides a risky heart and lung transplant. All this could have been prevented if Walton's faith-healing parents had simply taken her to a doctor when she was a child. She's got pulmonary hypertension, and it could have been prevented if doctors had closed a small congenital hole in her heart and lived to her childhood. But her parents are fundamentalist Mormons. Assholes. They went off the grid in northern Idaho in the 90s and refused to take their children to the doctor, believing that illnesses can be healed through faith and power of prayer. We all know how well that works.
Well, I don't know what she's complaining about. She is alive, so apparently the prayers did work. She didn't die.
It's all part of God's.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, dude, seriously?
All part of God's plan, Joe. All part of God's plan.
It is.
Yeah, and it's shocking,
that guy
when you look at the numbers. I mean, they've just recently really started to look into the effect of how this all started back in, like, what was it, like, during World War II. And the Supreme Court back then decided that parents' authority can get in the way of a child's welfare, except when it comes to religious expression, which is really fucked up if you think about it, because when you look at it, this decision didn't stop like 38 states, I think this alternate article says, from providing religious exemptions in their civil codes on child abuse and neglect. How messed up is that? Like, fuck what the feds say, this is what we're doing. I mean, this stuff, literally, these exemptions prevent, like, children's services from getting involved. So, who was the name of the doctor that started reviewing, like, 172 different deaths?
Rita Swan, I think, is one of the...
Yeah, and,
yeah.
I know that one of these famous churches that's known for this is a Pentecostal church. It's called Church of the Firstborn. It's Pentecostal. Yeah, I know, right? What a horrible allusion to, like, I guess, Passover, because I fucking hate that story with a passion. It's disgusting. But they said since 1976, 82 kids alone are linked to deaths with the Church of the Firstborn. One fucking church.
That's just one church.
One.
That's crazy.
And, well, it says also that the same doctor has investigated at least 172 deaths of children related to faith healing. And, like, 90%
of them would have survived if they just got routine medical treatment. 90.
We'd still have normal talking fucking Muppets as one for faith healing.
You know? Yeah, right.
Goddamn Jim Henson.
And I'm just... It's horrible, you know? These parents, they ignore things like dehydration. They ignore things like confusion, comas. They just assume, you know... I mean, you have people with, like, type 1 diabetes that need insulin pumps and shit, and the parents are like, no. And the kid... That's a torturous death.
Oh, yeah.
Blood transfusions
they don't do fucking,
and all that. I know. It's just...
Blood transfusions.
I think that, and like you said, this girl wants to prosecute her parents, and the question is, does she have legal recourse to do so? Because the way things stand right now, I don't think she does. Yeah, because her parents had the right to make those decisions under their belief system. And she was a minor. I mean, shit she can do.
Yeah, well, they have the religious
it's horrible,
shield law,
and I think
so.
that's got to change. I mean, this is something like, overseas, kids can sue their parents, all right, for mistreatment, for putting them with a foster family that ended up abusing them. There's... I
don't know,
this is
because
neglect.
Abuse itself, right? But there are other forms of neglect and abuse that are not, that you could claim are religiously based, that are completely illegal. Like, you could smack your kid around because the Bible says spare the rod, spoil the child. But that's right. But that in Georgia is illegal. I mean, there is a very legally specific way you can spank your child in Georgia.
Kentucky, not in Kentucky, as long as you don't cause physical harm, like obvious harm. So my 14-year-old, okay, his dad can jerk him up by the collar, drag him out of a room, force him, flip him over on a bed, force rolling over my son, and whip his ass if he wants. It's legal. As long as he's not leaving bruises or breaking something or bruising the kid, it's perfectly fucking legal. It's horrible.
Right, but when you get to the point that you cause irrefutable physical harm, then you can be... Well, I'm just saying, when you get to the point where it's caused irrefutable physical harm, you can be prosecuted. And I think she has irrefutable physical harm, and I think she should be able to prosecute her parents under the same statute as someone who would prosecute their parents for physical abuse